What's going on, guys? Roman the Roman here. In this video, I'm with Dan and Dylan, who have built their wholesale business to 30 million plus now. It's probably 31 million. They corrected me. Before we made this video, I was like 25 million is the last thing I heard. And they're like, oh no, we're at 30 million now. Their business has been booming. And over the last year, they've seen a ton of growth because of crazy times we live in. And we're gonna be going over why wholesale is one of the best models to sell on Amazon. I'll probably actually agree with many of their points. As a bookseller myself, I did 700,000 last year. But there are limitations to book selling when it comes to scale. So I've been able to scale my book business because I've been focusing on brand and I've really hustled hard, but it seems like wholesale is a much easier to scale model without having to get super creative with your branding. So we're gonna be going over all of this in the video. And by the way, I wanna mention we are gonna be keeping this pretty high level today, but we do have an in-depth training that these two will be hosting, and that will be below. So if you guys are interested in joining this training, simply click that link below or above somewhere around this video. And yeah, why is wholesaling the best model to start?
We got started selling on Amazon with book selling and arbitrage and had a lot of success with that. But there's and a lot of people, maybe they've had this experience, you kind of hit a peak at a certain point.
Yeah.
There is just a part where it becomes really hard to grow any further. So when we hit that peak, we started looking for, well, what's the next evolution? What can we do to take what we've learned and take what we've made?
And that peak, by the way, was 840,000.
Yeah.
So they were able to scale that big. But I have people who are doing like 10 or 20,000 a month, and they ask me this question. They're just like, I don't have enough books to source. So that's why I think wholesale is like a great stepping stone to really taking your Amazon business to the next level.
Yeah, and we wanted to get to that next level and something that we could really scale and really grow and double down on. And where we decided to do that was with wholesale. And I guess in some ways we picked the right model. We got pretty lucky in some other senses and have had a lot of success with it. So our model for doing wholesale, we call it reverse sourcing wholesale. What it is we identify great best-selling products on Amazon that we want to sell, and then we contact the brand owner, the manufacturer of that product. We send them an email or we call them, and we open a direct buying account with them, where we're buying it from the source, right? So it's the cheapest that you can buy, buying it directly from the source, and resell those products on Amazon. And that's what we do in the simplest terms possible. And so let's talk about the benefits. Why did we pick this model for selling?
Well, I mean, ultimately, we were making great money with arbitrage and books and stuff like that. It became a question that you touched on it right when we were coming into the video here. To scale your business past a certain level, you have to be pretty creative. I think you can make a good living if you're willing to get out there and hustle every single day. And the creativity required and the thought required to kind of scale past that peak level was really difficult. And we wrestled around with it for a while. It was like, how do we hire and train people to go out and scan and find books? And ultimately, it seemed like it was a lot more challenging. And that's kind of why we fell into wholesale. But it was that want to scale. Our goal was to be at home more, have more product coming to us, and have a more consistent business. So the wholesale model was really, really attractive.
Yeah, the way I can kind of compare it is like if we wanted to sell 1,000 books, we had to go out and source 1,000 different
1,000 unique items.
1,000 pretty much unique books, right? And then we had to prep and ship out 1,000 different books, which is difficult. But with wholesale, why it's so scalable is we're very intentional about the kind of products on Amazon that we want to sell, whose products we want to sell, what brands. And when we select one, if we want to sell 1,000 products, all we have to do is send an email.
One
phone call or one email, and send them our credit card information, or do they send out over an invoice for and then 1,000 units have been acquired.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so scalable, because your method for finding inventory is so much easier and so much faster. And here's the cool part about it: 1,000 units, right? The other part about that is many of the brands that we work with will just send that direct to Amazon from their warehouses.
That's what I was about to ask, is do you need a warehouse to do this? Can you partner with prep centers? But you're saying they're shipping it directly to Amazon FBA?
Yeah. Most of the time they will send it direct to Amazon FBA right from their warehouses. Wow. So we never see it, we never touch it, but it ends up going into inventory and we're selling it in just
So then are you paying
later.
Amazon to prep it and to label it?
So it just depends. Sometimes the brand owners themselves will do some of the basic level prep. Maybe it's just getting UPC scanned in, so that's simple. Or maybe there has to be bagging your stuff. They'll handle that. Some of the brands will do that for us. Sometimes Amazon will pay Amazon to do the prep, or we can, in some instances where the brand can't do it, or there's something more complex, like it has to be multi-packed or bundled or something like that. We'll use a third party. So have the brand send it to a third party prep center. There are hundreds, or if not thousands, of these different third companies designed to do Amazon prep for people.
Right.
They'll do it for us.
I mean, at this point, we've not actually had a warehouse in over 2 years.
Oh, it's like 3.5 or something now.
Oh, so you guys went the warehouse route and then you pulled back.
Right.
Yeah.
Originally, when we were doing, I mean, that was part of the book selling and arbitrage and stuff.
Had to have a space to prep it all.
To prep and process.
That's so weird. You went from arbitrage, you needed a warehouse, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, we're doing wholesale. We don't need a warehouse.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah.
But it's more. I think it's about 60 or 65% of our inventory currently goes direct from the manufacturer to Amazon.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
And then, the other 35% we work with a prep center, and that's the ones that like make our bundles or multi packs, or like some of the items where they have more complex prep. We would send it there. But yeah, that's the beauty of it is we don't have to have a warehouse. And like Dylan said, I mean, I can acquire. If I have a good product, I can acquire 1,000 units at the drop of a hat.
And we focus on really fast moving inventory too, so that we can kind of like cash flow can be really important. So we're always growing. So we'll order. Let's say this product sells 100 times a month. We'll order something close to 100 units and sell through those 100 units and then reorder and just constantly. So we're not having to buy huge sums of inventory that sit for long periods of time. We're just constantly buying and reordering and having them reship it.
It's actually probably one of the, I mean, that's probably one of the biggest benefits of wholesale. Like we can talk about, you talk about the consistency and, the ease of ordering and stuff, but really just being able to do that right there is massive. Like the ability to
just replenish.
Just replenish on a limb.
The ease of inventory.
It's much different level, and that's what really allows you to scale super fast.
Yeah, and it's less complex. So think about your Amazon account, right? If you log into your Amazon account, how many SKUs have been made or created in there?
Mine's. Well, I mean, right now we have 11,000 active.
Active.
That's active. Awesome.
Right.
So that's probably 10,500 unique SKUs.
Right, and I would say when we're doing 6 million in a year, our total active SKU count is less than 200.
Oh, it's less than 100.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Like your 6 million sales with less than 100 active SKUs, right? Because you have just fewer products that just are selling again and again and again. And so that was one thing, the ease of inventory and the simplicity of it all, right? And having fewer SKUs and that sort of focus. That was one. Another one was that the way that we sell with wholesale and just being a retailer, and where we acquire our products direct from their brands, it's safer because it's the way Amazon wants you to sell.
Right, like when Amazon, Amazon does the gating thing where they make certain categories harder to get into or certain product lines. Like the thing they actually ask you for is invoices from the manufacturer.
Yeah.
And so like if you're doing wholesale by nature, you can
always
that's
have
exactly what they want. So you're able to get into those categories and approve for those types of products.
There's just nothing that can happen for us. It's very difficult for us to ever get our inventory, get our account suspended, or to ever anything like that because, let's say we get an inauthentic claim or whatever, right? Because it just happens. People want refunds and they don't say anything to get them.
I actually dealt with this the other day.
Yeah, and it's as simple as we get that comes in. It's just okay, here's the invoice, and then it goes away.
Yeah. No, it was crazy. So I dealt with one of these the other day because a customer had made an inauthentic claim, and we sent them invoices that showed the last 6 months of purchases.
Yeah.
And a document that says we're an authorized seller for that brand.
Yeah, that's golden right there. One of the biggest booksellers, a huge bookseller, Half Price Books. They actually got their Amazon account suspended for 3 months because they couldn't provide invoices. Their books are donated from the general public, and
it's crazy, right? Like how
they're a huge seller. They're doing millions a year, and they're still not able, even though they probably. I don't even know if they had an Amazon rep. Do you guys have Amazon reps, by the way?
Nope.
Okay. So you guys are safe there, but I know some people get big enough to where they have an Amazon rep, but one of my mentors in the book game, he says he always has 35 plus inauthentic claims at any given time. And he says he's like okay with it, but the thing is, if any of them escalate or the publisher or manufacturer, or I guess publisher of the book gets upset, they have the leeway, they have the power to potentially get his account shut down by Amazon. And some of these publishers are ruthless, and Amazon knows that they're capable of suing them for millions of dollars, so they will shut down their accounts. And that's what, like, I'm so envious of wholesalers, because you guys don't have that issue. So what my plan is, I have a question for you guys about this too, because since I'm transitioning to wholesale, like, number one, I'm going to open up a new Amazon account. And I don't know if you guys advocate this or not. I advocate it for my audience. I'm going to open up a brand new account, and it's kind of like a gray hat area, but I'm going to do this like under a completely different name, maybe like my parents' name or something. But I've been burned before by Amazon. I had my account shut down for a month and a half. I know what it's like to like have revenue halted. So I don't want this associated with my actual Amazon account. I'm going to do it separate. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I think that there's ways to do it even under your own name, with just under a new business entity, completely separate bank account, completely separate business entity. Okay. And I think that I believe it just falls straight under the rules.
Okay.
Like you're allowed to do.
It's kind of funny, because I would advise you to like open that second account anyway, but it would be for a different reason. Like you said, you mentioned you have 11,000 SKUs, and that's 11,000 potential problems with claims.
I literally sell all the products people hate, like CDs, DVDs, that they can be counterfeit, and then the textbooks, which are a huge problem right now.
So I would want to segment my liability by having the thing that's more likely to cause it away.
Yes.
Like from the wholesale side, like typically you don't have a lot of problems because everything is streamlined. You think about how your products are received by Amazon. Like when we ship a product from our manufacturer to Amazon, it comes in a sealed case, perfect, like had never been opened or touched or handled. So it's like you're far less likely to get those kinds of problems and claims. Same thing with the inauthentic or counterfeit or whatever it would be, right? So it's like I would segment that off to potentially reduce risk or liability. But Dylan's right. Like, as far as setting up a wholesale based business, it's easy. Like your account, you would need you just have your LLC or whatever be the head of that account,
right? Yeah,
in charge of that account. We actually did it whenever we first set up our account. When we first transitioned to wholesale, we set up a new account, and it was owned by the same LLC. It was just you can get authorization from Amazon to have a second.
They gave us authorization.
Yeah,
to have a second account.
But my issue with that, and I will like, it's not an issue for people who actually wholesale, but for people like me who sell like the most sketchy products that exist. I had two accounts, and both of them got shut down, even though I had like a second.
Sometimes they can be linked.
That's why I'm so nervous about it.
That would probably, in your case, I might set it up in a different LLC and kind of run it that way.
I'm gonna go ahead and do that, just because I like with these big corporations like Amazon, they don't really care about the small guys. So I am going to set that up separately. My next question, though, is I just paid off all my debt last year. Even though I did $700 in Amazon sales, a lot of that money went towards paying off debt. So like I'm in a position, and many of my followers are in a position where we don't have a ton of capital to invest. Like I have cash flow coming in. My business is doing well now, but I don't want to burn up all my capital on inventory. I want to make sure if I spend $10,000 that it comes back to me relatively fast. So you said that you were paying yourself and that you were paying your bills, providing for your family early on, that first year in wholesale. Because the issue with inventory-based models is like as you scale, you spend more money. So how did you combat that?
Sure, no, exactly. That is, whenever we were in arbitrage, that was one of the major struggles, right? Is like you buy inventory, and if you buy, we would oftentimes stock up for Christmas, and that would require lots of capital being stored for periods of time, right? With wholesale, Dylan had mentioned earlier, we're very cash flow oriented. Like our target is 30 days turn rate. Like our average turn rate across our entire account is about 45 days. Wow. And that means we're selling through all inventory and hitting that replenishment cycle.
Just so you guys know, books is an average of 3 months. You're supposed to sell 20% of your inventory every month. So our turn rate that comes out to 5 months actually, but 3 to 5 months. Mine's closer to 2.5 because I'm a textbook seller, but that's insane.
Yeah,
45 days.
And we could get it tighter. Like one of the things that we do is we sometimes
just do 45 to be safe, so that we don't stock out.
Right.
Like we did that. Like we used to just be 30.
But so as far as being cash flow oriented, it lended itself to being pretty cash flow positive from the beginning. Like it doesn't take a large investment into wholesale because the products I'm buying sell quickly. So it's literally like for us, cash replenishment happens every month.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and speed. So that's the thing too. I think that a lot of people, think about things like wholesale and want to talk about margin. Yeah, but the margins are low, or maybe compared to other things. But like, you got to think about margin isn't all that selling is about. There's another important factor, and this is the one that people forget all the time, and that's speed of return on investment. Okay, so let's think about it compared to, for books, for instance. A lot of books that we would sell may have like a 100% margin. You're going to double your money kind of thing on it, right? But like you said, like the average time it takes to sell a book can be 5 months. Well, if I'm selling a product that has a 20% profit margin, but I sell it once every month and then use my profits that I got and buy it again and resell again. I sold it 5 times in a month.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? Like, it's about speed of return on investment. So you could, because with our business model, we sell everything so fast, we get the money back plus the profits and reinvest it again. And it creates this snowball cycle to where we can grow so fast.
Gotcha.
That original investment so fast.
What would you say the bare minimum somebody should have set aside to start a wholesale business?
Yeah, more than we started with. So more than the $600 that our business got started with. So $2,000 is our general recommendation, because that gives you enough room to buy enough products to where you can start reasonably scaling with that product.
You can leverage discounts at that level. Like, what we found is most of your opening orders are $250 to $500. So, like, at a budget of $2,000, that gives you the flexibility to place a larger order and get discounts, or place orders with multiple manufacturers and products.
When it comes to actually determining the product, are you guys going to be going over in the free training? Will you guys be covering what sales ranks determine a good product? Because my issue is I freak out. Like, Steve Rake, my roommate, he went and bought a bunch of Legos recently in the garage sale, and I was like, dude, how'd you know if they were good or not? Because I'm just a book seller. Like, I know books are good. If you tell me a toy's a million rank, I don't know what that means. If you tell me groceries a million rank, I don't know what that means. I know if a book's a million rank, it sells about 12 times a year. I know if a CD's a million rank, it doesn't sell that often at all. You should probably stay away from it. So with all these different categories to source from, how can we know that it's actually like a good rank? Because 1,400 sounds great to me, but maybe for some categories, it's not that great.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you excited here, Avery. Like, people think about rank in terms of being like a really good number to metric how well a product sells, right? Or get a gauge for how well a product sells. In that workshop, we're going to show you something way more accurate and awesome than sales rank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, because sales rank for us, I agree. Like, the problem is when you start thinking out, like, what is a good sales rank in this category? There's so many factors beyond just sales rank that would give you a good scope of what that product looked like, that we use something significantly more accurate in our business, and we're going to be going over that in the workshop to make sure that you don't make those goofy purchasing mistakes where you end up with a product that just doesn't sell. Like, because our business is so cash flow oriented, we just can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't afford to buy a product that's a complete dud.
Yeah, pretty much like our formula. It's really simple. It's not like it's super complicated or anything. What we're able to do, any product on Amazon, I can look at and tell you about how many times a month that product sells in total, and how much each one of the sellers sells. About how many units each individual seller sells in a given month. That's how granular we can get into it.
So, think of it this way. Like, now let's say that you go back to an example where you're selling a product 200 times a month, and there's 4 sellers and you're coming in. We can really closely gauge how many sales you will personally make, not just the listing itself. And whenever you start to give that context, it gives you the ability to not overinvest in products. Like, I can buy only the amount I need.
Gotcha.
So it really makes you a lot sharper in that area, and then lends itself to a better cash flow model.
That's awesome. Super excited for this free training, which is the link below. We'll be going more in depth, but I think that's it for this video, guys. We can start shooting some more. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to be with these guys all day shooting different videos. And yeah, any last words for my followers?
I mean, just start looking into it, man. Like, I know, so you're getting into wholesale. A lot of people, I know, want to make those big changes just like we did. So I think this is a great opportunity.
I mean, these workshops provide you with one of those looks where you can learn, is this model right for me, or does it make sense with what I want to do in business? Because right now, you know what works for you. You know what is going to continue to push the needle for your business. But thinking about how I could make this better, or how I could add this component to my business, gives you that perspective to see if it's the right fit. So I would say, absolutely sign up for the workshop. That would be my advice. Sign up for the workshop, learn more about selling on Amazon and how you can grow your business.
Find out if it's a good fit for you.
Awesome. I'll see you guys in there. I'm gonna be with you guys, not on camera, but I'll be taking notes at that workshop. Peace out.